had to bring their mattresses if they had any. We didn't have much. And then we would crawl underneath, and we would think that was a bomb shell. But do you really think the bomb would stop on top of a mattress? On top of a desk? I don't think so. But we were lucky, we didn't get hit. Up until the end of the war, we got a direct hit. And many of our people died, and many, many Chinese. Now, I want to point out that the Chinese that we lived together with in the same area, they were mostly poorer Chinese. They were not very rich Chinese because this was a poor section. They never, ever called us a dirty Jew. They just accepted us. They never bothered that the fact that there were 20,000 people sitting right on top of them, taking their spaces, you know, and being very crowded. But they've always accepted us, they were always kind to us, and many friendships were made. And it was very important that everybody knows that the Chinese were wonderful to us, really very, very good. And they helped us a lot in many different ways. So eventually, one day the war was over, and the Japanese had disappeared. Suddenly there were no Japanese soldiers out there. And the Japanese soldiers had been really miserable to the Chinese. We would watch them when they beat them up on the street for nothing, for no reason at all. And there was nothing we could do. So the war was over, and the Japanese had disappeared, and the American army came in and liberated us. And that's when we found out what had gone on in Europe, that our relatives had been murdered. And 6 million Jews have been killed because of the Jews. So that was very sad. And in the meantime, we tried to make a life over there. We still had no other place to go. We worked for the Americans. My sister married an American soldier and went to America with him. And I, in the meantime, worked for the American Navy. And in the summer of 1948, they had taken over the very large swimming pool in China, and my husband was a lifeguard over there. He was Russian, and he was working as a lifeguard there. He was a teacher during the winter and a lifeguard in the summer. And I went there to take a swim, and I said, and he said, can I teach you how to dive? I said, sure. I hardly knew how to swim. But I said, sure, because he was very handsome. And I thought that this might not be such a bad thing. So I dived all afternoon, and I didn't drown, obviously. And 2 weeks later, we got engaged, and 2 months later, we got married. So we didn't waste too much time. And we made a good life together, and we had 5 children eventually, and I have 7 grandchildren and 6 great-grandchildren. So something must have worked. So I think it worked out. Unfortunately, my husband's no longer with us. But we lived there, and then came another change. Again, we had to run away. 11 years after getting to China, the Chinese communists took over the city, and they wanted all the foreigners out. And so we had to run away again. And we didn't know where to go. We had no papers. So eventually we managed to get to Australia. And I spent 3 years in Australia, where 2 of my first daughters were born. And then after that, we managed to get to America. And that was the best day of my life, because I always wanted to come to America. You know, there's a reason why everybody wants to come to America, because this is the best country in the world. Regardless of what's going on anywhere in politics or anywhere else, it is the best country in the world, and I've been around a little bit, and I can tell you it's true. Absolutely, everybody who's a refugee wants to come here, and I've been a refugee for a long time, and I couldn't wait to get my American passport after a certain amount of years after they lived here. And that's one of my prized possessions. So when we landed in New York, after a very long, very difficult journey, which is in my book, my parents had gotten to America before us, and they didn't get our telegram that we were coming in that particular day. So here we are in the airport in Washington on August 23rd, 1953. I was 23 years old, and with two little kids and my husband. And a stranger came up to us, and he said, "Are you new in this country?" And we said, "Yeah, we want to make this our home, and we want to be Americans." And so he said, "Let me welcome you." And he went off to the machine, and he got 4 bottles of Coke, and gave us each a Coke, and said, "Welcome to America." Now, isn't that beautiful? I mean, one kind deed like that. And that's something that stayed with me all these many years. And I just can't forget it because it makes such a difference. If you do one good thing for somebody, you might forget it the next day. But the people that you did it for, they will never forget it. And it's the most wonderful feeling for them. And it certainly was for us. Now, I don't even like Coke.